everybody, welcome to episode 21, our final in-season episode of 2021. Today we're going to be talking about, we're sitting here with Darren Kalniak, our superintendent, and we are going to go through a bit of a recap of the season on the golf course. Okay, Darren, so we're going to talk about today just about the recap of the golf course. Maybe start with just some of the things you experienced this year. Obviously, a very lengthy year, right? So we opened April 3rd and we're still going. It's October 6th and it's 27 degrees outside and it's crazy fall weather. But maybe just go through some of the weather challenges that we had this year and how it affected maybe the course and the conditions.
Yeah, you know what? I think weather plays a big factor in the golf course and the conditions coming into the springtime. We were challenged over the winter, which we've been over the past couple of years, with some milder temperatures in December, which brought on some rain, which brought on some ice, and then froze. And you know what? I think our saving grace this year was from having a lot more damage than what we did was the early melt.
Yeah.
That was key to a lot of turf surviving this year. And we go from an early start, which was great, to a snowy start, to a snowy beginning, and then we just kind of missed that whole springtime and went straight to summer. Absolutely. And it's been quite a challenging summer with all the heat and lack of rain and the drought conditions that we've had out on the course.
So yeah, with the heat and the drought, obviously we went from it had to be late April till late July with barely a stitch of rain. Is that pretty close?
Yeah, we were lucky to get any type of substantial amount of rainfall. April, May we had a little bit, but then starting June, July, August, it was like minimal. We really noticed it in the level of the river going down quite a bit, and all the water that we were pumping out of there, which I'm surprised lasted us this long.
Yeah, and just so our members know, we basically got an order from the province, basically stating that we were only allowed to water tees and greens, and as it turned out, it showed up that cease and desist kind of showed up 3 days before we got rain. Yeah. So it worked out. The timing worked out okay, really from our benefit. And after it rained and we got all the rains, man, the golf course sure flourished. It started to come alive again. So. Yeah,
for sure. And that's a nice thing about the turf, where when it gets into those stress stages, they kind of go a little dormant. A lot of the rough will start browning out, irrigated spots. But once you get a little water back into the plant, it just rehydrates and starts turning green and growing again. As we see that we're having a tough time with our growing.
Yeah, and you know what? Just so again, so you all know too. I mean, this year we're breaking records with how many people we're putting through. So our traffic is really high. Our normal year for us is about 31. Pre-COVID was about 31,000 rounds, which about 75% of that is member rounds ish, right? So we're sitting there, and now this year we've just broken 40,000 rounds. So which is astronomical for a Canadian golf course. So which is phenomenal. So essentially, with that extra traffic, what does that do for course conditions?
Well, it definitely puts the turf under a little bit more stress. You're seeing a lot more compaction with wear areas from going up and off greens and down the fairways and everything such as that. So it does put a little bit more stress out onto the turf, and to relieve that we need aeration. And we just did our fall aeration, which was great. The greens really were receptive to that and enjoyed the fresh air and to get rid of the compaction.
So now, going forward, do you think that potentially, I know normally traditionally we aerate spring and fall. Do you think maybe some less invasive stuff during the season might be beneficial too as well to help out?
Yes, for sure.
To combat that.
Yeah, and you know what, we did do a couple of the little mini tining. It does take time. That's the thing. To do 9 holes, it's 4 hours. I have been looking into some newer technology and equipment that you can do the whole course within 4 hours. So efficiency is always,
Yeah.
you want to be efficient in everything that we do here. And if this could help us, give us another tool in the toolbox, which is going to benefit the health of the turf,
And ultimately
improve the
benefit the play
conditions,
conditions,
the play
yeah.
conditions, I think it's something that we're looking into.
Perfect, awesome. Okay, and now, so we'd really like to talk about, I'm sure everybody wants to hear about 15 and 16. Your opinion on it, what we've, like, personally, I'll give you my thoughts. It started the year pretty nice, it was in good shape, both of them, really pretty decent condition. And then probably by about late June, maybe early July, they kind of started to deteriorate, where they started to thin out, and you started to maybe see some of the turf not surviving. So maybe let me know if that's kind of how you saw it, and then B, maybe even just go into what we can do to hopefully get those two greens kind of back into the condition we really want to see them in.
Yeah,
Right?
and you know what, I agree with you. There's nothing's more frustrating to everybody, and myself included, with the turf on 15 and 16, and how it's kind of given us the ups and downs. This year I thought they started off really strong, things were coming along, and then we kind of hit into that heat wave and the drought, and managing a bent grass green opposed to a POA green is two different types of management. And I think we cautioned, our staff cautioned on the side of, we want to make sure the turf has enough water. And the one thing that bent grass does not like is a lot of water. So you got to really be, you got to manage your water amounts a little bit more. So, that being said, we've kind of talked a little bit about, putting in some new sprinkler heads.
So maybe describe to our members as far as what we've talked about, as far as how we are going to combat that, the water differential between the POA versus the 15 and 16.
So the one area that we're going to do is put an extra set of heads. This way we can manage the Kentucky bluegrass, which is all the way around,
Fringes,
on the fringes and the banks, and the bent grass separately. So bent grass we can water for maybe 5 minutes a night, and then the rest of the turf around the bunkers and everything, maybe about 20 to half hour.
Yeah.
So we can really, because right now everything's set at one time.
Yeah.
So as the sprinkler spins around, everything gets watered
The same
equally,
equal,
right?
yeah.
So that's one area that we're going to be kind of working on and correcting. Hopefully the challenges of that, with maybe a little bit more hand watering.
Yeah, and I think given those two greens and the compaction that we saw in the fall, especially 16, with the grade and all that sort of stuff, it was really difficult to land a shot and hold it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you and I talked about adding that extra, maybe less invasive aeration mid-season for that one, or for those two, pardon me. And again, if we're doing just the two of them, a little less invasive to the membership too, right? So they're not really getting an inferior product, other than just one green at a time if we do it that way.
Yeah, and like we've talked about as well, is they do manage differently, and some of the newer greens, which we're having a little bit of a challenge, is building that thatch layer, which is going to make the greens a little bit more receptive as well, as you're aware. And but on top of the aeration, if we can get those little timing heads that we can do, we can do it more frequently, and helping the turf out, and a little bit more of the granular fertilizer as well, instead of the liquids as well. So
long story short, to our members, we feel we've heard your concerns, and we're definitely talking about it, addressing them. We feel we have a good plan going forward to make 15 and 16 better, more playable next year. Again, more receptive, and a consistent speed as well, consistent with the other holes. Because again, understanding that bent grass and the POA are going to roll differently, so they will be cut slightly differently as well, right? To make sure the speeds are consistent, right?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a little bit more higher cut on those two, as well as alternating rolling and cutting
Right.
every couple days. So this way they're going to stay a little bit more consistent and a little bit more receptive.
Outstanding. So that's a good plan for next year. All right, and now really the last part of the golf course stuff that I just want to kind of recap really is the success of what we did with the on-course renovations. We had the course enhancement fee that we charged this year so all of your money went towards those improvements on holes 11 and then 3 and 4 as well with the fairway bunkers. And personally, I think all the 4 of those 3 of the bunker complexes really split into 4 now, but turned out fantastically, and they really made the course a little bit more challenging too, and I think, which is great. So
yeah, and I think over time with them growing in a little bit more, it's just gonna be better. We've got some areas that we have to get a little bit more water to that we didn't have, so we're going to be working on some of those areas a little later as well, and we've got some possible new projects coming up for this year as well.
So yeah, and again, just to kind of give the lowdown for you members, the $75 course enhancement fee is going to stay in for next year because of the success what we had this year. We're going to continue to put your money to good use and making sure that we can continually improve the golf course. So that's our plan going forward. Tentatively right now, we're looking at the first tee and 18th tee renovation, and then potentially some additional bunker work that we'll do next year as well. Outside of that, is there anything else, Darren, that you want to share or add, or think that our members need to know?
Well, you know what, I think this year had its challenges for sure, and I think moving forward, we're looking at what we can do to better the conditions of the course, and hopefully we have a great winter with minimal warm weather.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. One last thing, people have been asking, Darren's Revenge, when's it happening? Well, we sent an email out last week. October 15th is going to be Darren's Revenge Day. So this is the day where Darren and his staff take all your comments about the golf course and they just fester it up, and they put these pins in diabolical spots. They put tee placements in crazy spots. They make the golf course play it as absolutely hard as they possibly can. They might roll the greens 15 times just to make sure it rolls out nicely.
Some of the pins might be in some of the spots that were this year. So,
anyways, this is an opportunity for you to come and see how tough Darren can make it. So, good luck. Lastly, on this little segment here is a reminder: use your food assessments. Anybody who has any food assessment left, you got to use by October 31st. So make sure you join us in the gallery, tap house, and grill, and use up your food assessments. All right, and finally, just a bit of a summary and a bit of a thank you. This will be our last, like I said, in-season episode of St. Pete TV. So I want to thank you, our members, for a pretty awesome year. On behalf of all of our team, really, we love doing what we do, and we love serving you and seeing you on a daily basis. Also, thank you for your patience and understanding and cooperation. I mean, we all know that these past 18 to 24 months have been an absolute gong show. So we thank you for what we've had to endure to get you guys out on the golf course. So just a couple quick housekeeping issues, just to let you know. So starting, we just set a date for the last cart service will be Sunday, October 17th. So the beverage cart will run until the 17th of October, and then after that, it'll cease and desist for the season, as inevitably the season does have to come to a close at some point, and our staffing situation is very challenging. We have not set a closing date for the golf course, so it'll all be weather related. We will let you know as soon as we make a decision. You'll get an email that'll outline kind of when the golf course is going to close and what the process will be. Lastly, clubhouse survey. So you're going to get a clubhouse operations survey this Friday. Next Friday, you'll get a golf operations survey. So we do value your opinion. We do want you to be constructive and kind of share your feedback with us, because the only way we can get better and serve you better is if you provide us with some constructive feedback. So we value it, so please do take the time to fill it out. It again helps us make our decisions going forward. So thanks for a great season, and we'll hopefully see you guys all next year.